I want to take you to a moment that used to happen in my house. My adult children would be on their way over for dinner. Nothing had gone wrong yet. Nothing had even been said yet. And yet, there I was in my bedroom with tears streaming down my face and bracing myself. Bracing myself for what I was afraid they might say. Bracing myself for the look on their face when a certain topic came up. Bracing myself for the ache I felt every time I remembered that the life I had pictured for us was not the life that we were actually living. If you have ever done that, I want you to listen to me before we go any further. You are not alone. You are not doing this wrong. And there is a way through this that does not require your adult child to change one single thing. Welcome back to the Seasons of Joy podcast. My name is Jill Pack, and this is episode number 213, entitled Mending the Rift, Loving Your Child When They Leave the Faith That You Love. Today, we are talking about something tender for many of us. We're talking about repairing your relationship with an adult child who has left the faith that you love. But before I dive into this week's episode, I want to talk about something new that I've been working on for a while. It's called the Clarity Circle, and I'm so excited to share it with you. What if the missing piece to creating a more joyful life isn't just more information? What if it's practice in community with women who get it? You've read the books, you've done the work, you know what you want to do in those hard moments, yet the gap is in the doing, and the gap closes in community, not in isolation. That's what the Clarity Circle is for. A space for midlife women of faith who are ready to trade reactivity for revelation. Inside, we spend time really understanding what I call the clarity map together. There are 6 simple steps that create room for clarity, for agency, and for grace. There are teachings, live coaching, and honest conversation. A circle of women walking this with you. So the waitlist is open and we start in September, and I have included the link to join that waitlist in the show notes. So now on to this week's episode, Mending the Rift. Now I want to be really clear about who this episode is for. This is for the mom whose daughter stopped going to church. This is for the mom whose son is choosing a path she did not raise him to choose. This is for the mom who has cried in the car after a family dinner because she does not know how to hold both her deep love for her child and her deep love for her faith in the same heart at the same time. Now, if this sounds like you, just take a breath, sit down, and let's chat. There is a particular kind of grief that shows up when a child we love steps away from something that has been at the very center of our lives. It is not only about them. It's about our identity as a mother. It's about the promises that we made, the prayers that we prayed, and the dreams that we had for their future and for our future with them. And when reality does not match those dreams, we are left with what I call the rift. It is this space between what we hoped for and what actually is. So what I have learned about this space is that we cannot close it by arguing with reality. We cannot close it by pretending that everything is just fine. We cannot close it by loving them a little less so that it hurts a little less. We close it by learning to love in a new way. Today I want to share 7 small shifts in perspective that changed everything for me. 7 things that I wish someone had said to me at the beginning of this season of my life. So tip 1, love is a choice. Our brains are quick to tell us that our emotions just happen to us. Somebody says something and we feel hurt. Somebody makes a choice we do not agree with and we feel angry. It just feels automatic, and it feels like they are doing this to us. But love really is a choice, and so is every other emotion that we feel. Not long ago, one of my adult children said something to me that was unkind. And in that moment, I felt anger. I felt hurt. And those emotions made sense, and I let them be there. Here is what I did not do. I did not react from those emotions, which before this time in my life, I would have. But instead, I stepped away. I let myself cry. I let myself feel the pain. And underneath the anger and the hurt, I noticed something else that was still there. Love. It had never actually gone anywhere. When my nervous system settled and the sharp edges began to soften, I asked myself 2 questions that have become some of my favorites. What is needed here, and what feels most like love? From those questions, I could re-engage, not from hurt, but from love. I could see my child as a human being who was hurting too. I could comfort. I could ask for what I needed from a gentle place instead of a raw one. Love is a choice, and it is a choice that is always available to you. Tip 2, other people don't feel your emotions. This one changed my life, so listen close. When I am angry at my adult child, they do not feel my anger. I do. And it feels awful in my body. When I love my adult child, they do not feel my love in their body. I do. And it feels beautiful in my body. For years, I had been carrying an invisible assumption. If I could just feel the right things towards my children, it would somehow reach them and change them. But that is not how it works. Our emotions live inside of us. They shape our nervous system. They shape our day. They shape who we are becoming. So does this mean that our emotions and our actions don't influence or impact others? No, of course not. We definitely have influence on others, but we cannot make them feel our emotions. So when you choose to feel love for your child, you are doing it for you. You are giving yourself the gift of that feeling. And love, my friend, just feels better in your body than resentment does. And it fuels behavior that aligns with the person that you want to be. Tip 3, neutral is not better than love. Often when it comes to grief, many of us believe that it would be better if we could just feel neutral. When feeling love hurts too much and feeling anger feels too heavy, we try to just not care. We try to numb out. We shrug and we say, it is what it is. Now, I understand this. I have believed this myself. But I remember hearing one of my coaches say, nobody ever wakes up and says, I'm so glad I feel neutral today. Nobody prays for a numb heart because we were designed for the full range of emotion. We were designed for love and joy and sorrow and every rich color in between. Feeling neutral is not the goal. Feeling love, even in the middle of hard things, is the goal. And you can move toward love without being afraid of the sad and the tender things that come with it. Both are part of the human experience. Both are welcome. Tip number 4, we cannot motivate others to change by not loving them. Now, I held on to this subtle belief for a long time without even realizing that I was. I believed that if I let them see how much this hurts me, they will change. If I hold back my love, they will feel this absence and come back. It never worked, not once, because this is the truth. Shame is not a motivator. Love is. We will never hate or have hard feelings towards our children into becoming who we want them to be. When I finally let go of my resistance to who my children were choosing to be and just started loving them exactly as they are, something shifted. Not in them necessarily, in me, and in the space between us. Love does not require agreement. Love does not require approval. Love is so much bigger than both. And tip number 5, you cannot pre-hurt yourself. If you've been listening for a while, you have heard me talk about the pre-hurt pause and that anticipatory stress. This tip goes along with this idea. Sometimes we decide to withhold love because we're afraid of getting hurt. We think if I do not let myself love them too much, then when they disappoint me again, it will not hurt as much. Can you see the beautiful, painful contradiction? You cannot pre-hurt yourself. You cannot use the pain ahead of time so that there is less of it later. All you can do is trade the possibility of joy for the certainty of misery in the meantime. Your adult child may do things you do not agree with, and you can still love them. You may still feel hurt sometimes. You may still feel sad sometimes. But choosing not to love them will not protect you from any of that. It will only rob you of the love that is available right now, today. Tip number 6, your feelings are your responsibility. So I want you to imagine just for a moment that you fully understood something. Not just knew it in your head, but you knew it in your bones. Your feelings are your responsibility, not your adult child's, not your husband's, yours. Now that might sound difficult or heavy at first, but stay with me because this is actually the most freeing news that you may hear this week. If your feelings are your responsibility, then love is always available to you. You do not have to wait for your adult child to be different in order to love them. You do not have to wait for them to come back in order to feel peace. You do not have to wait for the relationship to be perfectly repaired in order to rest inside of your own body. You get to be the creator of your own experience right here, right now, in the middle of a story that has not turned out the way you hoped. And tip number 7, love is always an option. The 7th tip is really the question that ties all of this together. And I encourage you to write this down. What feels most like love? That is the question that I ask myself when I do not know what to do, when I do not know what to say, when I do not know how to respond to the text or to the news or to the empty seat next to me on a Sunday afternoon. What feels most like love? Sometimes the answer is to speak. Sometimes it is to stay quiet. Sometimes it's to reach out. Sometimes it is to step back and take care of my own heart first. When I choose love as my compass, I show up better. I feel better. I become more of who I want to be, regardless of what anyone else is choosing. The world is full of hate and anger right now. Responding with more of the same does not make it better. True change, the kind that lasts, only ever happens through love. So before we close, I want to leave you with something small to try. Pick one relationship where the rift feels big. Now, it does not have to be with your adult child. It could be anywhere that pain is felt. It could be in your relationship with a friend, with your spouse, with your parents. And then once a day this week, pause. Take a slow breath and put your hand on your heart if that helps you. And then get back inside your body and ask yourself the question, what feels most like love right now in this moment? And then do that thing. And again, some days the answer will be to send that text. Some days it will be to pray for them and let the day just be quiet. Some days it will be to comfort yourself first before you try to comfort anyone else. All of those are love. So, Mom, if you've been carrying a rift with an adult child who has left the faith you love, I want you to listen to this. You did not fail. Your love did not fail. Your prayers did not fail. You are in one of the hardest, most sanctifying seasons of motherhood. And the very thing that makes it so hard, your deep love for your child, is also the thing that will carry you through it. What better way to learn to see and to feel and to love the way the Savior does than by walking through the most challenging relationships of our lives? Now, this isn't easy work, but it is powerful, life-changing work. So if you want to be able to practice this work, practice the perspective shifts that I've shared with you today, I want to invite you to join us in the Clarity Circle. This is a small group where we gather together, like I mentioned in the first of the podcast, to work through this stuff, to practice this stuff. So the link is in the show notes. And I've also included a link to a PDF that I've put together, Mending the Rift, Loving Your Adult Child When They Leave the Faith You Love. It's in writing, so you can see all the tips and some of the things that I've talked about today so that you can review it and practice those perspective shifts on your own. Now remember, you are not alone in this season of life. I love you and I am cheering you on, and I'll see you next week.